There will be a military component to this. There are savage cruelties going on out there that have to be stopped. ISIL is killing Muslims at a rate that is many multiples the rate that they're killing non-Muslims. Everybody has a stake in stopping them. And there will be an element of us just stopping them in their tracks with force. But to eliminate the soil out of which they grew, to make sure that we are giving a brighter future to everyone and a lasting sense of security. Then we're going to have to make it clear to all of our children, including that little girl in 5th grade, that you have a place. You have a place here in America. You have a place in those countries where you live. You have a future. Ultimately, those are the antidotes to violent extremism. And that's work that we're going to have to do together. It will take time. This is a generational challenge. But after 238 years, it should be obvious America has overcome much bigger challenges, and will overcome the ones that we face today. We will stay united and committed to the ideals that have shaped us for more than 2 centuries. Including the opportunity and justice and dignity of every single human being. Thank you very much, everybody. Barack Obama. Address to the people of Cuba. Delivered March 22, 2016, Gran Teatro de la Habana, Havana, Cuba. Thank you. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much. Please. Thank you very much. President Castro, the people of Cuba, thank you so much for the warm welcome that I have received. That my family have received, and that our delegation has received. It is an extraordinary honor to be here today. Before I begin, please indulge me. I want to comment on the terrorist attacks that have taken place in Brussels. The thoughts and the prayers of the American people are with the people of Belgium. We stand in solidarity with them in condemning these outrageous attacks against innocent people. We will do whatever is necessary to support our friend and ally. Belgium, in bringing to justice those who are responsible. And this is yet another reminder that the world must unite, we must be together. Regardless of nationality, or race, or faith, in fighting against the scourge of terrorism. We can and will defeat those who threaten the safety and security of people all around the world. To the government and the people of Cuba, I want to thank you for the kindness that you've shown to me and Michelle. Malia, Sasha, my mother-in-law, Marian. Cultivo una rosa blanca. One in his most famous poem, José Martí made this offering of friendship and peace to both his friend and his enemy. Today, as the President of the United States of America, I offer the Cuban people el saludo de paz. Point 2. Havana is only 90 miles from Florida, but to get here we had to travel a great distance over barriers of history and ideology, barriers of pain and separation. The blue waters beneath Air Force One once carried American battleships to this island to liberate but also to exert control over Cuba. Those waters also carried generations of Cuban revolutionaries to the United States. Where they built support for their cause. And that short distance has been crossed by hundreds of thousands of Cuban exiles. On planes and makeshift rafts who came to America in pursuit of freedom and opportunity. Sometimes leaving behind everything they owned and every person that they loved. Like so many people in both of our countries, my lifetime has spanned a time of isolation between us. The Cuban Revolution took place the same year that my father came to the United States from Kenya. The Bay of Pigs took place the year that I was born. The next year, the entire world held its breath, watching our two countries. As humanity came as close as we ever have to the horror of nuclear war. As the decades rolled by, our governments settled into a seemingly endless confrontation, fighting battles through proxies. In a world that remade itself time and again, one constant was the conflict between the United States and Cuba. I have come here to bury the last remnant of the Cold War in the Americas. I have come here to extend the hand of friendship to the Cuban people. I want to be clear, the differences between our governments over these many years are real and they are important. I'm sure President Castro would say the same thing, I know. Because I've heard him address those differences at length. But before I discuss those issues, we also need to recognize how much we share. Because in many ways, The United States and Cuba are like two brothers who've been estranged for many years. Even as we share the same blood. We both live in a new world, colonized by Europeans. Cuba, like the United States, was built in part by slaves brought here from Africa. Like the United States, the Cuban people can trace their heritage to both slaves and slave owners. We've welcomed both immigrants who came a great distance to start new lives in the Americas. Over the years, our cultures have blended together. Dr. Carlos Finlay's work in Cuba paved the way for generations of doctors, including Walter Reed, who drew on Dr. Finlay's work to help combat yellow fever. Just as Marty wrote some of his most famous words in New York. Ernest Hemingway made a home in Cuba, and found inspiration in the waters of these shores. We share a national pastime, La Pelota, and later today our players will compete on. The same Havana field that Jackie Robinson played on before he made his major league debut. And it's said that our greatest boxer, Muhammad Ali, once paid tribute to a Cuban that he could never. Fight, saying that he would only be able to reach a draw with the great Cuban, Teofilo Stevenson. So even as our governments became adversaries, our people continued to share these common passions, particularly as so many Cubans came to America. In Miami or Havana, you can find places to dance the cha-cha-cha or the salsa, and eat ropa vieja. People in both of our countries have sung along with Celia Cruz or Gloria Estefan. And now listen to reggaeton or pitbull. Millions of our people share a common religion of faith that I paid tribute to at the Shrine of Our Lady of Charity in Miami, a piece that Cubans find in La Cachita. For all of our differences, the Cuban and American people share common values in their own lives. A sense of patriotism and a sense of pride, a lot of pride. A profound love of family. A passion for our children, a commitment to their education. And that's why I believe our grandchildren will look back on this period of isolation as an aberration. As just one chapter in a longer story of family and of friendship. But we cannot, and should not, ignore the very real differences that we have. About how we organize our governments, our economies, and our societies. Cuba has a one-party system, the United States is a multi-party democracy. Cuba has a socialist economic model, the United States is an open market. Cuba has emphasized the role and rights of the state. The United States is founded upon the rights of the individual. Despite these differences, on December 17, 2014, President Castro and I announced that the United States and Cuba would begin a process to normalize relations between our countries. Since then, we have established diplomatic relations and opened embassies. We've begun initiatives to cooperate on health and agriculture, education, and law enforcement. We've reached agreements to restore direct flights and mail service. We've expanded commercial ties, and increased the capacity of Americans to travel and do business in Cuba. And these changes have been welcomed, even though there are still opponents to these policies. But still, many people on both sides of this debate have asked, why now? Why now? There is one simple answer: what the United States was doing was not working. We have to have the courage to acknowledge that truth. A policy of isolation designed for the Cold War made little sense in the 21st century. The embargo was only hurting the Cuban people instead of helping them. And I've always believed in what Martin Luther King, Jr. called the fierce urgency of now. 3. We should not fear change, we should embrace it. That leads me to a bigger and more important reason for these changes. Creo en el pueblo cubano. I believe in the Cuban people. This is not just a policy of normalizing relations with the Cuban government. The United States of America is normalizing relations with the Cuban people. And today, I want to share with you my vision of what our future can be. I want the Cuban people, especially the young people, to understand why I believe that you should look to the future with hope. Not the false promise which insists that things are better than they really are. Or the blind optimism that says all your problems can go away tomorrow. Hope that is rooted in the future that you can choose and that you can shape. And that you can build for your country.